It's very possible that the AI platforms of the future might even become better stewards of life in the universe than we are. They might understand this same sense of duty. And there, it's not really a genetic duty, it's more like a life duty, because they don't have genes at that point. They're just, sort of machines. But they may understand and even more profoundly utilize some of their skills and prowess to protect life, including carbon-based life, other life, and see themselves as the best shepherds of life. That's what I hope. They could also destroy all of carbon-based life.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Many, many years ago, I worked for a brief period of time, Frank Oppenheimer, whose brother, Robert Oppenheimer, known as the father of the atomic bomb. And Frank started the Exploratorium in San Francisco, and his big kind of dying words, literally to all of us, was beware of the computer. It will be the end of, the world as we know it. I can speak for this because I saw what happened with the atom bomb.
Yeah.
But I said that we should ask you because through the computer and everything else, all of the work that you do is really about using all of this technology for hopefully the benefit of mankind. But that's enough. You can answer it or not, and then we can begin.
Yes, well, I think unquestionably every technology, it can be a double-edged sword. It can be a tool or a weapon. It can be a savior or it can be a prison. So this is true with fire. It's true with swords. It's true with atomic power. It could be power or it can be a weapon. So same is true with biotechnology and computers. So that you can design your algorithm to do Bitcoin mining or play games, or to do precision guided rocketry for a war that is assaulting innocent people. But the demarcation question is, you could say computers really started coming into, it was really in the 40s and 50s, the very early versions of computers were coming online to solve decoding, and Enigma tools to solve basically cryptography were enabled by the early versions of computers. So I think certainly though within the last century, there's been a shift, and we see it every day. Our smartphones have more power than the Apollo rocket that landed on the moon. And it sometimes makes you wonder if I should probably doing more with my phone if that's the case. But there's definitely been a sea change in the past 50 to 60 years.
What do you think that the additional computation that's possible now, like I can just, rent 10,000 computers on Google for $5 a computer. Like, what is that going to do? What does it mark for the future?
I think it means questions of scale can be addressed. So if you want to scan every known protein molecule and discern whether your new drug or new molecule could hit it, modify or in some way interact with it, you can do that. If you want to use the compute to predict the shape of new proteins, like the alpha program, you can do that in principle. You could do it for interactions of biology. You could do it for cancer therapies. You could do it for modeling individuals. There's this big effort called digital twins, where you want to have a version of yourself in silico that's a digital model of yourself, which is interesting to think about. Could you try 5,000 drugs on yourself before you try them on your physical self, and then figure out which one's the best, if it's a therapeutic or if it's a psychotropic, something that might be best for you, all sorts of applications.
Do you think we're actually there with a digital twin, or is that sort of like making a model of, making an animation of a drug interaction that we think we understand, but we don't really understand?
Yeah, I think it's early. Yeah, I think it's promising, but early. Like it might take 5 or 10 more years of digital twinning perfection to really get to the point where you can do it routinely. But there's other versions of twins, like organoids, where you can take a bit of your cells and make miniature organs in a plate, like a mini heart, mini brain, mini liver. And that's another version of, it's not a digital twin, but it's sort of an in vitro twin, something in a dish that you could also do testing on.
So are you saying that potentially, I heard you talk about this earlier, but you could do clinical trials on your digital cell life, right?
Right,
It would be amazing, Jesse, to think about the implications, right? And wow, are people already not doing that?
I mean, just even backing up for a moment, I was at the beach the other day, and there's kids making sandcastles, and the sandcastles, by the time they leave, they'll all be washed back into a nice glassy sand beach. And the state of the world is things return to their simplest forms. So when you're looking out 500 years, you could look out 5,000 years or 5 million years, a relatively small amount to the the vast amounts of time and distance that we we live in, what do you think the state of the world is? Could we actually get, if the state of the universe is entropy, if everything returns to sand, then do you think we could get to another planet, and would it be meaningful over time?
I think we can and have to as an ethical obligation, actually. So you're spot on, is that if you look out in a long enough time frame, I think all ethical questions become quite clear. If you think, okay, if I think about 1 year, 1 month, 10 years, you can have nuance and you can have disagreements about policies and applications, but everything is really clear when you look out 5 billion years, that whatever you're doing here on Earth, if it's still here, it will all be burned to a crisp because the sun engulfs the planet. Actually, in 1 billion years is when the oceans will boil off. So it's not even that far. So suddenly you're looking at hundreds of millions of years, again, which sounds like a long time, but that actually in the history of the Earth is not that long. And it's something that we can actually see and actually impact. And so I think in that case, before the sun engulfs the Earth or boils off all the oceans, as in your analogy, when the sand gets washed away and the castles get washed away, we know enough about extinction. We know that we can go extinct. We know have enough technology to find places to go travel. And we have the beginning of the tools and methods to enable us to survive on other planets. That's what I wrote a lot about in my book. And it's what we're working a lot in lab and working with colleagues at NASA and SpaceX and others to really make that a reality and to get the hardware, the wetware, if you will, the biology, and also just the infrastructure in place to get to other planets and then survive on them.
We look out from our telescopes and we feel like we live in a, there's a state of equilibrium, but since the initial inception of the universe, it's been cooling, to get us to where we live at this time, where we live in a temperate existence. But if life was to go on and on and on, I mean, it either ends in inky black darkness, every molecule pulled apart from every other molecule, or some people think it ends when it all gets pulled back together again. I don't know if you have a thought on that, but how do we as a society or as a group think about those kinds of problems?
They're equally terrifying. I think maybe the heat death option is more terrifying. I feel like if everything collapses back in on itself, which depends on the amount of dark energy and dark matter in the universe, which we don't exactly know, probably about 80% of the universe is not measurable or visible right now, which is also kind of terrifying in a weird way. Dark matter, dark energy. If it ends in a big collapse, I actually think would be kind of cool is then it might be no new Big Bang, right? So maybe life will get a chance to start all over again. But if it ends in a heat death and things continue to expand, and you have galaxies that are too far apart from each other to even communicate with each other, which is expected currently, is the most likely solution, likely end result. Then you'd have to think of, can we restructure space-time itself to prevent that from happening, or create local areas of the universe that resist entropy and stay somehow self-contained, or have such a slow escape of entropy that it's effectively near an infinite timeline. But that is hundreds of trillions of years from now, but it's something that I do think about a lot, actually.
When you say ethical obligation, what do you mean?
Well, I think the ethics there is we are the only creatures, as far as we know of, in the universe that are aware of extinction. And so if you think life has value, so it supposes that life has value, which I think it does, but we'll start there. Life has some value, and that any other ethic that you have, whether it's utilitarian ethics, Kantian ethics, whether it is any sort of ethical framework, Rawlsian ethics, whatever that framework is, you have to live in order to have that framework. So it's really antecedent to any other ethical framework, is just to be alive, is to be living, and that life has this value to create these ethics and create works of art, create music and poetry and science and religion, all sorts of things. So if life has value and life creates these ethics, the thing that is required for all of that is to survive. And if life is threatened, as it currently is, by the universe eventually collapsing or expanding infinitely, if we want to preserve all those things we value, we have to survive. We have to live, and that is what I call the deontogenic framework, or the genetic duty, is that our duty towards life itself is to survive. And to do that, we have to just use science, technology, some of the same tools that we do now in medicine to get out into space.
How do you define life?
Good question. So it is a system that's self-perpetuating and can maintain an environment that's distinct from the external environment, and essentially that can die. Something that stops doing that at some point. Like, for example, a star is a good example. It has a growth cycle, it gets bigger, it has fusion, it creates heat, it has all these dynamics. It seems like it's alive, like a candle even kind of seems like it's alive. It uses energy, it has exhaust, it's dynamic. It can adjust to stimuli in a sense if you move it, but it has no ability to make baby candles, and stars can't by their own cells kind of replicate themselves. They have a fixed life cycle. Same with like red blood cells, for example, in your body, they carry all the oxygen, but there's no DNA inside of them. There's no nucleus. They're living, but they're not the full representation of life, meaning that they have no ability to create new versions of themselves. So you have to have embedded in life some capacity for regeneration or for reproduction.
So bacteria, phage, like they are life? Would that be considered life?
Yeah, in that case, phages, even though they seem like parasites in a sense, or even viruses in general, they only live if they're inside of another cell. There's something there, what I would say represents something that can be living. For example, it's starting to replicate, it's active, it's copying itself, but it's sort of a partial version of life. It doesn't have sort of a full catalog of what life can be.
The phage is, the scale is so much smaller than bacteria.
Mhm.
And bacteria is so much smaller than where we are. What do you make of this idea of scale? Even when we're studying genes in the body, we still don't know all of the ways that they interact. We don't really understand all the mechanisms yet, do we?
Not at all. In fact, a simple question is like, for example, how many genes are in the human genome? Like we have genes that make enzymes that make our muscles, our neurons, make our fingernails, make our eyelids all function. How many genes are there? It used to be thought that there are maybe 20,000 genes, maybe 30,000. The answer now is actually about 60,000 genes that are well characterized, well annotated. And we've only found the last 10,000 in the past 10 years. We're finding, essentially about 1,000 new genes. The fundamental tenets of genetic regulation in our bodies are still being discovered. So even in our own bodies, we're still finding them. And if you look globally across all species, we've probably only characterized 1 or 2% of all species that are out there. There's just so much left to discover. So I think it's wonderful. I mean, it's this time of euphoria where if you go anywhere, anytime, like we've been sequencing subway systems around the world to see what DNA is there in microbes, and half of the DNA never matches any known species. So you might look at a subway pole and think that subway pole is disgusting and gross, but you should actually look at it with sort of rapture and envy and love and mystery, because it has this whole ecosystem that is full of discovery.
And we don't know whether the ecosystem's good or bad for the human condition.
Yeah, it's usually inert. Because most times they're just organisms trying to survive like we are. But some of them, of course, can cause disease or pathogens. Some of them can be beneficial, where they can even maybe help maintain a stable ecosystem in your gut. It really is. Really depends, I guess I'd say.
So Chris, how did you get started? I mean, you do many things. You're a scientist, but now you wrote the book, The Next 500 Years. You work with NASA. You've done many studies. Like, how did you get interested in all of this? Like, what is your origin life story?
I started as just a single-celled embryo. I just was curious. I divided. I was impatient. Maybe I came out 3 months early, so I was born premature at 28 weeks, and have just a little bit of obvious brain damage, but otherwise no severe consequences, as far as I can tell. I was always curious about space and genetics ever since I was a kid. I actually went to space camp twice when I was a kid. Always looked up at the stars, and then it was actually in 7th and 8th grade when I learned about embryogenesis. Speaking of embryos, that all the instructions to make all the cells in our body are in that very first cell. And I was fascinated with that. And at the time, in the mid noughties or late 90s, we didn't have a complete whole human genome. If we had fragments that were not well characterized, we didn't know what they all did. And so as a kid, I kept thinking, that's just fascinating that there's all the instructions you need to make everything in the human body, and it's all in one cell. And it makes everything, genetics and epigenetics, all these changes to create really these trillions of cells that all work in symphony together, or ideally in a symphony. But we didn't understand the book of life. We didn't even have the sequences for the book of life. Like we didn't actually even have the text of the book of life when I started work in science. But even when we got the first draft of the human genome in 2001, so we have this book of life, this is what makes human cells make all their cells and gives your hopes and dreams and create this, complex organism. We didn't even know how to read the book of life, right? We didn't know where the genes started and stopped. We didn't know exactly what the grammar and syntax was of the language of life. But so I've been fascinated with that ever since I was a kid, is that we have just begun to read the real books of life of this planet. And we're just on the scratching the surface of understanding what the genes do, how many genes there are, and then actually eventually even fixing them. So could we take someone that has a broken gene, if you will, and then replace it or fix it? And we know very much the answer is yes, but that was pure fantasy 20 years ago, or very early clinical trials. but now is there's actually hundreds of clinical trials deploying this as we speak. So it started just out of curiosity long ago, and then also some of the things I did work in, a lot of IT work basically with Harley Davidson for a while. So I built servers, got some work in programming, managing all their operations and workflows for shipping motorcycle parts around the country.
Perfect training for 500 years in the future.
Yeah, right, because it could be like Mad Max or something, but
Yeah.
building computers from scratch also helped me understand the power of computational algorithms, tools, and frameworks to mine and model that data.
If we're going to go to another planet, like we're going to go to Mars and live in a lava tube, which it seems like at some point we're going to get it together and be able to do that. What do you think the things that we have to bring are besides humans? I mean, do we have to bring cattle and elephants and, because I don't think humans can survive just on their own. We're symbiotic to other forms of life ourselves, so do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, it'll probably be a lava tube. You're right. We're gonna have to bring a lot with us. I mean, we do this everywhere we go. We bring our microbes on our body. When you look at whatever room you're sitting in now, whether it's a bedroom or a office or a coffee shop or a train, wherever you are, there is a existing microbiome and ecosystem on, and all around you. And it has historically been accidentally engineered, but for the first time in history, we'll be able to purposefully engineer ecosystems and microbiomes, including on the walls, including essentially what's on the floor, what's in the water systems. And so these previously invisible mediators of health and disease will become, I think, visible, and then key levers in how we maintain our health and well-being, especially if it's on another planet, right? You have to make sure there's not a rampant pathogen or a problem in the water system, and engineer from the ground up. I don't think we'll need cows right away or chickens. Martian chickens, would they all be red chickens? I don't know. But we'll probably start with more mundane foods first, things that you grow or that are in hydroponics. It'll start slow, and a lot of it will first have to be shipped from Earth and then land there, and so it'll take a while. It'll be slow, take a while, but we'll get there.
Do we need a new framework for how we exist with other people on Mars? Because we'll be well beyond the framework of the Earth. What country, what rules are we going to live by?
Yeah. So there is this is an old question of what is the best political system to govern human beings. A notorious book in this case was, well, maybe not notorious, but an interesting book was by Francis Fukuyama called The End of History and the Last Man. And he wrote it in the early 90s, supposing that, basically capitalistic democracies were the best system to govern people by looking through the lens of history, he called it the end of history because there was no other future direction to go. It was a Hegelian synthesis of, looking at what was socialism versus communism versus really completely unregulated market systems into more of a democratic capitalistic society, and thought that this is the best system, which is interesting to think about. It's probably the most likely system that will be deployed on Mars, but it depends on who gets there first, right? So China thinks that they'll get there by 2033. They've publicly said that's their plan to get boots on the red planet by then. NASA is now saying 2037 or 2039. So it used to be we might get there first, but the organization of that planet might look a lot like this planet. There'll probably be different social systems, different versions of countries that eventually form. I'm hoping they'll be more collaborative and helpful than on this planet we've been, but it remains to be seen.
Won't they have to be? I mean, there's not going to be that many people. You can't really have a war with very few people.
Exactly. There's no resources to have a war, but there will be resources to have wars about. If ice is found, for example, in a large repository and someone doesn't share it, people will fight for it. So I think, unfortunately, the history of humanity is littered with examples of struggle, but often for means of survival. So if you have to, kill someone to get the resources, or you'll die of starvation, there could be instances that would happen on a faraway planet because, there's no one to stop you. And if you needed to survive and the other person's not sharing, well, then they just might do it.
Do you think that's a universal thing about human beings? We evolved from these other species that have died out. Is it something that was brought into our genome that it, created this acceleration? And, is it something we can take out of ourselves? Or
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Can you take out the survival gene?
Yeah, good question. So it definitely can be taken out. Actually, one of my favorite examples I discuss in the book is something called the silver fox domestication experiment, which, if you've never heard of it, let me just describe. It's basically where they took foxes that were roaming in rural Russia, and several geneticists in the 30s thought, well, that's interesting. Could we convert these foxes basically into dogs, and could we basically do directed evolution, so make it so you could say take the most docile foxes, have them slowly breed with each other, and the more angry and aggressive foxes, just let them die of old age. But then they did this over the course of about 30 to 40 years, and they already saw results by the late 80s, is that they could basically take a wild animal and make it tame. And this was something that was just surprising, because you thought it might take hundreds of years or thousands of years, but it was done in a matter of decades. And also their facial characteristics changed, their personality changed. They got droopy ears, they got juvenilized facial characteristics. So all these sort of rapid evolutionary changes that you might think would be long-term took place quickly. And so that means, I think, for humans, I think what is the genetic payload we have today is just been through accident, not through design. And so it could be modified, tweaked, could even be completely changed.
But that raises such an ethical question, because it depends on who's doing the modifying, right? So if like a nefarious or an authoritarian state or whatever says we're going to make more aggressive humans, right? So how do we manage all of that? What is the mechanism by which we manage all of this? The ethics again.
So currently it's just through international consensus and sharing and people collaborating, but there's no formal committee, right? There's no one, the closest thing is the United Nations, but even that, there's no guarantee. The United Nations passes resolutions all the time that signatory countries disregard. So I think the best thing so far, I hate to say it, has just been self-policing, which is never the best system, but currently it's the only system, at least among scientists and geneticists and engineers, to do this. And so I look forward to a time when there's something more substantive and official, if you will. But right now it's just mostly self-regulation.
And evolution never stops. It keeps continuing on. We're in a never-ending cycle. It's like in cancer. The cancer we're fighting today is a much different cancer than it was 20 or 30 years ago, because it's evolved. Yeah.
And it will never stop, right? And even if you had the genetic profile of every living organism in this planet or any planet, if you wait an hour or two, things will mutate, evolve, divide, change. And so you have to be a constant gardener in sort of the fruits of knowledge and keep the trimming and plucking and pruning.
We've only been, say it's 1,000 years, that we're really keeping track of history and understanding what we're doing. The next 500 years, do you think we can hold it together and be continuous? And what are the kinds of, we talk about blockchain technology, trying to, everything's going to be on the blockchain. So everything that would disappear normally, we'd be able to keep track of. But, as we go through history, we lose vast amounts of data every day that will never be recovered. So, will we be able to keep continuously building for the next 500 years?
I think unquestionably, even though there's inefficiencies in our system, we lose data, again, as you said, for sure, every day, but the capacity for the genesis of data is bigger every day than the day before. So the sad data loss, which could be, for unique samples or species you can't see again of 20 years ago, is, I think, dwarfed by what is the capacity to discover and then even create entirely, new data sets, new species, even in the decades ahead. So, losing data or losing species is always, sad, but our ability to save species, our ability to create new data, literally is the best today than it has every other day. And that's true every day you wake up, because the capacity increases.
I heard you talk about we could go back, now this is happening, right? We're bringing back a seemingly extinct species. Could you please talk about the woolly mammoth? Jesse is obsessed with the woolly mammoth.
Well,
And you have an interesting idea about that. Okay.
Yeah, so this gets back to some of the questions.
you think it's for punching down the tundra up in
that's one of the proposed uses to prevent global warming, preventing all carbon from coming out of the ground. So it's an interesting idea. I think the logistics of it will be complicated, but it is one of the benefits of having woolies back on the tundra. So I'm actually, I work on the board for Colossal Biosciences, which is bringing back the mammoth. I talk about it, of course, a bit in my book, because I think it's an interesting idea that if you have a genetic duty to preserve life, that includes current life and future life, but it probably also includes past life, even extinct life. Is that if life has value and you have a means by which to return it, you probably should. Now, if you bring any life form back or you take a life form away from any environment ever, it could either be great or catastrophic. So that's true no matter what you do with any species in any ecosystem. So you have to do it carefully, slowly, if you do it at all, and make sure you wouldn't devastate the ecosystem by trying to help. And humanity has a really checkered past. Sometimes it works okay, a lot of times it didn't work at all, to sort of bring in one species to help control a different species. There's lots of folly and misplaced ideas in that through the past several thousand years.
I'm not sure that that's worked very well. I can't think of a good example.
No, but there's like bringing the wolves back actually.
Oh, right. Okay.
To Yellowstone National Park is kind of the most celebrated example where it actually balanced the ecosystem and did improve things because you included an apex.
Although the toads in Australia, that one didn't work out too well.
Didn't work at all, right? So there's probably more cases where it didn't work than it did.
Yeah.
I have a question though about bringing something back though, because are they equipped, genetically to overcome like new viruses, right? It's a different time when the woolly mammoth existed, or even a wolf that's extinct.
So there's an ongoing work to bring back the microbes and the fruits and the plants that were around when the woolly mammoth was around. So if you recreate a species, you also recreate the ecosystem around it.
And also it's the time and the exact year of one specific species.
And then once you release it, though, of course, it will evolve and it will change as it was before. But to kind of give the new species, the resurrected species, the best chance possible to get out into the world. And it may work, it may not work perfectly right away, but it's definitely not that much different in terms of what we do now when we try to do species management and conservation, where you try to subtly and slowly tweak an ecosystem to preserve it.
So now why the woolly mammoth and not the thylacine?
Thylacine's coming up as well. Actually, Chris Helmsworth just did a big press release about that, and he's excited to support it. So thylacine's coming. There's discussions of other animals like the dodo or the passenger pigeon, animals which are well preserved. We have good DNA, and you can bring them back. So there's a long list.
No, is that Stuart Brand's initiative you're working on, or is that George Church's, or is it both?
Oh, they're collaborating on that. So we're all working on that together. And some of it's through Colossal, some of it's through the Revive and Restore project. They do some of this work as well. And and some other of the zoos and other, like the San Diego Frozen Zoo, where works a bit on this as well.
Yeah, we had them on. They were great.
Yeah. Can we pivot a little bit and talk about some of the experiments and some of the work you're doing with the astronauts to understand, I know you've done a lot of work with that, just because it's pretty fascinating what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, so we do what's called an omics analysis for astronauts, or we call it SOMA, which is the standard omics measures for astronauts. What that means is, think of, for example, every time you go into a clinical trial, say you want to try a new drug, maybe for cancer or to treat an infection. If it's a complex clinical trial, you have a lot of work during the trial to monitor the patients. What's their blood work look like? You even look at urine, stool, look at their biometrics and make sure that the treatment is not killing them, or hopefully it's making them better. And you look at safety and efficacy. Now, we're taking some of the same clinical trial mentality that we do at our hospital at Cornell, at the medical school, and bring that to bear for astronauts. So we monitor them before, during, and after spaceflight at the genetic and molecular level to determine what happens to the body in space, and are there any risks that we could find and target and maybe eventually mitigate and even protect them for future missions. So this includes work we've done with NASA for the NASA Twin Study, as well as other missions through NASA, also with SpaceX and Axiom, other private space agencies sending people up, and also collaborating with other international partners like JAXA, the European Space Agency, and others. So the goal is to get as much data as we can for people that go into space, which is an unusual environment for the human body, and understand what the risks are, what the response is, and then figuring out ways to nudge the body to be safer for longer missions, like when we go to Mars or even farther.
No, the twins who just went up, the senator from Arizona, what did his twins on the ground and he went up, what did you find? Did you find anything that were surprised you, or,
Lots of things. I mean, some things were obvious, that his stress markers would increase when he went up into space, which makes sense if you're on a rocket that could explode and then you safely made it to space. So it's a bit stressful that one day. But a lot of the stress markers settled down when he got into flight, into space. But then he was up there for a year. So Scott Kelly spent a year in space. Mark Kelly spent the rest of the time on the ground. We did try and get them to eat the same food and work out at the same time and get a perfectly matched profile. But Mark declined to eat all the same space food that his brother was eating. He said, kind of, no, thank you. He said it in a much more aggressive way, but basically, no, thank you. I was like, to hell with this. So, because it's not the best tasting food if you've got other foods on Earth. But it's enough to survive, and also the workout regimen. And in general, we did a vaccine deployment in space. We did a lot of the other blood work. And what's interesting is most of the measures of the body responded. So about 91% of most of his molecular changes in his blood went back to normal within a few months, even a few days, some of them when he got back to Earth. But there were some long-term changes. The damage of his DNA, we could see in his urine, we could see in his blood. And it even persisted even a few months after he got back to Earth. So it's, it is a continual low dose of radiation that we could see evidence of it across his body, and took a while. His body was still repairing even when he got back to Earth. But we also could see his other things, like his telomeres got longer in space, actually, which was the opposite. Long telomeres is a sign of being younger. And so he kind of got the fountain of youth in space, but it went away when he got back to Earth. So it really was a short-term gain. And the long-term challenge was he did also have more DNA damage, which is of course not good, not too much of it. So we've been monitoring him basically every year since he's come back, and we do blood draws and can continue to keep an eye on him, as well as other astronauts. We feel like this is early days. There's only about 670 people that have ever been to space. We don't know the long-term impact of going into space. Neither does NASA or Russia or any of the space agencies. There's just not that much information. So we're still monitoring them long-term to see, are there any risk for rare cancers or for neurological diseases or any sort of other long-term immune system changes. We just don't know. So we're monitoring everyone somewhat as a hedge against the future risk, and that, maybe the body is much more resilient than we think and they'll be okay. But these long missions to Mars will represent what's called 1,200 millisieverts of radiation, which is more than the likely lifetime dose you should ever get. So we are still thinking about these long Martian missions and how do we prepare for them. That's the ultimate goal, is to see how they change. And if telomeres get longer, maybe you want them to be a little bit longer, but not too long, kind of thing.
The radiation, if you're in a tunnel, you probably have less radiation hitting you, no?
Exactly. That's actually the main reason for the tunnel, is you get some physical protection against the radiation. Also, of course, when you're standing on a planet, you have the whole planet beneath your feet that's blocking all that radiation. So it covers half the sky effectively.
At the end of War and Peace, Tolstoy talks about, what he's learned, right? And, in the epilogue, he talks about how, the people by very nature at the very top have less to do with the actual things happening on the ground. Napoleon has an idea, but he doesn't do it all. His generals do, and then below that, they all do. And it's like, is that a universal principle? Have you found universal principles that you can put into algorithms to help search for things?
Sometimes yes. Like, for example, searching for different kinds of DNA. DNA is the same in all species. Everyone uses DNA. So you can take search functions across bacteria, viruses, humans, plants. That's one advantage of having a single information storage system for life. But other things are much more nuanced. So things that are very specific to a time or place are harder to map out. But I think, at least on the biological information and how it's stored and processed and moved, that is reassuringly actually uniform across all of life, I'd say.
All phylum? I mean, like, if you look at an octopus, is it the same as a human being in terms of the way the genes all function and work?
So it depends. So sometimes there are orthologous genes, which means that this gene does almost the exact same thing in any species you find. So one of them is like actin, for example, or cytoskeleton. Genes that make the skeleton inside of the cells are remarkably similar across all species. But there's also these beautiful variations of, for example, what's carrying oxygen in different species. Like in humans, it's iron, which carries it in hemoglobin, which gives blood that red color. In other animals, it can be copper, so they can have blue blood, for example, that's a metal ion that's carrying the electronegativity through the body. So, and the goal is the same. It's just the medium and the mechanism is a little bit different. So it's really kind of wonderful.
Wait, I have a question about the red blood versus the blue blood. When the term blue blood, so what does that actually refer to, right? Why would that be considered more elite? Usually the term blue blood is to an aristocrat or something. Am I right about this or wrong?
So it's interesting. It switched throughout human history. It used to be that, if you were really pale, it meant that you were rich enough to avoid having to go work in the fields and get all that sun on your body. So you're very pale, so you could just see your veins easier. So like with blue-blooded, kind of rich, aristocratic, wealthy people. But now it's actually changed in the past, few decades, is that if you're really wealthy, now you can afford to go travel somewhere and get out in the field and be on a boat and be on a beach. Whereas if you're stuck in an office all day, you get pale skin and you're kind of sad and pasty white. So it depends on where you are in human history. But that was the original reason for it. It didn't have anything to do with what was carrying your oxygen or carrying your sort of molecule.
Are there hints of universal principles, the building blocks of life that are the same? Like, we know we need a sensor to see light, so an eye develops, and it's developed independently 5 times on Earth that we know of, if not other things. Do we see universal principles that apply?
It's a good question. So,
And the things inside the body, are the same as when we look at a city from thousands of feet up, from
the
space?
vasculature looks remarkably similar in how life propagates out into the universe, whether it's the size of a planet or in size of a cell. Or if you look at what does the sun look like versus an embryo or an egg from a certain distance, they look the same, these large spheres of potential. So I think there are organizing principles that do manifest that way, really the sense of matter to organize itself. And really, life is one of the few things in the universe that fights against entropy. And it does this at a remarkably similar way across all scales. But I don't know if there's one book or one list of things that are universal. I think, really just response to your environment, ability to propagate and maintain your environment, and the ability to reproduce are the things that, all life does. But the geometry of how they do it or the structure of it is really variable. Like, for example, lanternfish in the bottom of the ocean, they have sort of these eyes, but then they don't even really have photoreceptors. They just have this lantern that's out in front, and they more sense when fish come rather than see them with a sort of retina. So you just need a way to sense something. Or obviously bats are blind and they have echolocation though. So I think sensing is very broad and just has to be done some way, but it can be in almost across any wavelength that you want.
We think of eyes, we have these senses, we break it into 5 senses, but is that really, like you just described, the lanternfish? I mean, we would categorize that as 2 different kinds of things, but for them it's just one. Yeah,
They don't even distinguish it. They're just hungry. So I think that's what life looks like on Earth. And I just imagine if it's on a different planet, we would also have this wide panoply of different structures that would form on bodies and how they would evolve. But at the end, they would need some way to extend out in the environment, to sense it, to respond to it, and then to maintain their own internal environment. I'd say we should be the same no matter where you are in the universe.
Can we, with algorithms, create something that's alive?
Like as an AI?
Yeah, can we create AI? I mean, so AI is, maybe one of the terms that changes every month of what artificial intelligence is. We just see an never-ending change of definition to what it actually is. But when I would think about it when I was a kid, it would be like, well, it would actually be something that resembled being alive.
Yeah. Well, there actually, I have a whole bit of the book where I just say I am matter agnostic towards cognition. And what I mean by that is it carbon? Is it silicon? Is it something that's made of a different atom? Whatever kind of matter it is that's creating cognition and thought, it's fine with me. I think because also any life form, whether it's based on any atom that we know of, or even ones we don't know of, if it's creating some of these same thoughts and ideas of duty and principle and persistence and thinking about mortality and its own livelihood, it has some version of sentience. It has an ability to think and even understand extinction. So I actually argue in the book that it's very possible that the AI platforms of the future might even become better stewards of life in the universe than we are. They might understand this same sense of duty. And there it's not really a genetic duty, it's more like a life duty, because they don't have genes at that point. They're just, sort of machines. But they may understand and even more profoundly utilize some of their skills and prowess to protect life, including carbon-based life, other life, and see themselves as the best shepherds of life. That's what I hope. They could also destroy all of carbon-based life.
Well, it depends on the ethics you put in them, I guess.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
It's all about who's in charge, right? It's always about who's in charge.
Yeah.
You have the next 500 years, but what's the next 10 years? What are you looking forward to? Or the next 20 or 30 or 40 years?
Sure. So what's great is we'll have boots on the red planet by that point. It could be US, could be China, it might be both. We'll have samples that'll be brought back from Mars at that point. So we'll start to get a better sense of was there life ever on the red planet? What did it look like? We'll see a lot more of the probes out into the solar system. So we'll start to be much more of get into our neighborhood, if you will. So I think that's exciting. But I think the most exciting places, though, will not just be in space, although those are wonderful things, but it's actually in human cells. The number of clinical trials, as I alluded to, is already skyrocketing, will just increase. And we will reach a state of what I like to say is a cellular liberty, where you are no longer beholden to the genetic shuffle that you got at birth. If you, for example, beta thalassemia, and you can't have normal hemoglobin carrying your blood, you can modify that gene and turn back on a different gene or even replace it. This idea of correcting genetic diseases in adults, not just in embryos or kids, which is harder, is already becoming commonplace. And I think will be perfected and then deployed broadly for a lot of diseases. And so I think that's very exciting. the idea of customized vaccines for people's cancers based on a lot of the work for mRNA vaccines we did for COVID will be deployed and expanded and accelerated. And I also just think that the ability to do computational work and the AI platforms will get better and better. And hopefully they'll be benevolent and better than some of the, I think more pernicious actors, but are coming, they're going to get better. And I think will be really beneficial.
When you look at quantum computers, they make decisions and we don't even know how they get to the decision. Shouldn't that be able to make better and better algorithms that take advantage of that? And what does that not knowing mean?
Well, it means, I would say, it's not that it's just that you don't observe it. So it still makes a decision through a framework we mostly understand. But when you observe the quantum state, you'll change it. So you just don't always see how it did, but kind of how it made it. And I think, as long as it's something that you can model and depend on and use to store information faithfully, then it's okay if you don't know exactly, when it happened or you didn't see it happen, as long as you know that it's using a quantum fluctuation and, a wave probability function to make a state and store information. I'm okay with that. People often are scared of AI saying it's a black box and you don't know how it works. And the training data can be in some ways magical, but we know exactly how it works. Anyone who says that is just someone who's never designed an AI algorithm before or used some of the machine learning tools. It's just training. It's just learning patterns the same way when you look in the sand and you see lines in the sand, you assume something walked that way or an insect or a person. And if you see enough of them, you'll figure out which one. Was it a person or was it an insect that made that pattern? You just learn. And so, you don't look at your own head and think, I'm terrified of this. I don't know how it works. Let's just get rid of all human brains because they're too scary. We don't know exactly how the human brain works either, not all of it, but we're getting there. So I think it's similar with AI and ML platforms, that there are some parts that are training data, but I've coded them from scratch myself. It's not a total mystery.
Mystery. How much mystery is out there when you look out there in the universe? How much mystery do you see?
I see. Yeah, probably almost everything is still mystery. So that's what's wonderful about it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for spending so much time with us today.
Yeah, pleasure, my pleasure. There's also a new book I have coming out. I should come back and tell you about it. It's called The Age of Prediction, and basically about the shifting shadows of risk and AI in our current basically society, where AI has probably impacted almost every part of our life. So I can come back later, and it comes out next year.
So for everyone who's watching, please, this is the incredible Chris Mason, Dr. Mason. But his book right now we're talking about, which is one of the reasons we were talking to him, is The Next 500 Years, Engineering Life to Reach New Worlds, Leave the Solar System and Colonize New Worlds, and Which Planet Should We Pick?
Yes.
So you can find that book, just go probably to Amazon or wherever, but follow him, check out what he's doing. It's quite incredible, the work that you're doing, and come back because we want to talk to you about your next book on AI. We love what you're doing. So
are you thinking that we would go to another planet, like an exoplanet orbiting another star somewhere else? So what is the soonest you could do that would be, what does it take? 20, if we could move at the speed of light, 25 years?
Yeah, somewhere even 10 light years away. But so you assume part of the reason there's at the end of the book is a generation ship. You'd have to have multiple generations live and die on the same spacecraft on their way towards one of the newest stars with a exoplanet. So it's a big ask for that generation, but I think still it might be ethically bound to do it for the sake of life itself.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Chris, very much.
Thank you again, Chris. Great to meet you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to meet you. See you soon. Thanks.